Now, your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So it doesn't take much to watch our temperatures start to rise across the region. They're already starting to bounce up there toward the 80-degree mark. We've got 76 degrees in Sarasota, and we've got 77 degrees in Lakewood Ranch. We've got temperatures across the region that are generally in the upper 70s, except that at Longboat Key where it's right along the water there. And of course, the temperatures are a little bit cooler there. We're looking at temperatures that are about the 70-degree mark. So across the region right now, southwesterly wind is starting to establish itself at the airport, southwest at about 9. We have a dew point value of 64, and that I think is going to rise just a little bit thanks to that southwest component to the wind. 76, as I mentioned, officially at the airport with lots of sun around. You can see a few of the clouds that are beginning to form, kind of streaming in from the Gulf waters and beginning to form in inland areas. You know, if you look at the direction of those streaks of cloud, those rolls of cloud, why you can kind of certainly make out that we have a southwesterly wind flow, even aloft a little bit. So that will definitely, I think, be key to a forecast over the next 24 hours. I'll tell you why in a sec. By 3 o'clock today, we'll probably get up to about 82 degrees. Taper it off into the evening hours at 72 or so. Should be a perfect evening with just a little mix of fair weather skies and clear skies. We'll look for 66 during midnight hour, and then when you wake up tomorrow morning, fog, I think, will be around, especially near the coastline, 62 at that point, but the fog should burn off pretty quickly. Future forecast put into motion shows what we're talking about. We have this southwesterly wind flow that's developing here. Temperatures across the region in the upper 70s, probably topping out in the 80s in many locations, maybe even mid-80s inland. And then as we head into the evening and possibly into the overnight particularly, we'll start to see a little bit of that sea fog begin to roll in, I think, in places, leading to a better potential for some foggy conditions out in Gulf waters and along the coastline during the morning hours. And then we'll start to switch those winds around to a more northwesterly direction, and the fog will begin to retreat. Here's another view of that same model. Winds out of the southwest, and then the fog begins to move a little bit closer to us as we develop that westerly and eventually even a northwesterly motion that brings down some of that fog from the north. So we'll watch and see if that develops. Of course, Bob will have an update for you at 5 o'clock on that potential fog issue, but it does look like that could be a problem tomorrow morning, particularly for mariners. If you want to get the boat out there early on in the morning, could be an issue. Frontal boundary kind of meandering through parts of the mid-Atlantic, deep south, and into areas of actually the Four Corners. High pressure will be our dominant weather feature, and that'll be sticking with us right through the weekend, kind of ensuring us just beautiful weather. West wind comes in at about 5 to 10 today, kind of settling down to about 5 later on tonight. That'll bring us smooth conditions. Nice weekend for boating, except for the fog. 81 degrees today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Then we start to heat up just a little bit on Monday, and I think next week we have the potential of being in the mid-80s, and even I think a potential for some inland locations, inland locations, to be in the upper 80s next week. Scott?